Just because somebody passes away doesn't mean a foreclosure has to continue going. But waiting during the probate process could be the biggest mistake a family makes. If you are inheriting a home or you're the executor of an estate that is handling a property that has a mortgage that's behind, this video is for you. Assuming that probate automatically stops a foreclosure could mean you lose the home before you have a chance to sell it, refinance it, or take steps to keep the property in the family. Hi, I'm attorney Kishore Kapoor, a residential real estate closing attorney here in the state of Connecticut. And every day I share real life stories from real closings so you can learn from my clients' experiences and have a smooth and stress-free closing. So let me tell you two stories today. We represented a family. Their mom had died. There was a mortgage on the house. The mortgage fell behind on the payments. No one knew what to do. They weren't appointed. They were taking time. They were stricken with grief. And while I understand it's hard losing a parent, the problem is that the legal processes don't stop. This family didn't do anything. They got served with foreclosure paperwork. They didn't do anything. They didn't contact their probate attorney. They didn't tell their real estate attorney. They didn't do much of anything. So a month goes by, judge enters judgment that the house is to be sold. Well, that's when the family took a step to do something. The house is about to be sold. They're freaking out. They got the judgment. I understand all of this. The problem was they didn't act quick enough. They kind of dragged their feet throughout the process. The daughter who lived in the house wanted to keep the house in her name. Not a problem. We can do it. But the issue was because she didn't take any steps, we were stuck. So it's about a week and a half before the property is supposed to be sold. She reaches out to me and says, I want to refinance the house. What do we do? Well, I have a foreclosure attorney we work very closely with. We refer to the foreclosure attorney. We delayed the foreclosure by 30 days. Client went and applied for a mortgage to refinance the house to put it in her name. Her brothers agreed that they were going to transfer the house to her. Everything went smoothly during the refinance process. Unfortunately, day 30 was the day that the closing was supposed to occur, and day 30 was the day that the judge was setting the sale date. We ended up going back into the court, extending it, and had the hearing actually on day 30 to extend the closing out. We closed that afternoon. This young woman was able to stay in her family home and buy it out of the estate. Everything worked out smoothly. But had she taken steps earlier, it would have cost her a lot less money and definitely a lot less stress. Now let's flip to another side. We had a client selling her house. Her mother and father actually had passed at the same time. So the house was being put into probate estate. She was on it. Got appointed as the executor. We got a notice that the house is being foreclosed on. Again, brought in my foreclosure counterpart, filed a motion to get time, right? Taking the steps to go through the foreclosure, bought time, as much time as she needed. She ended up listing the house, sold it for $300,000, paid off the $150,000 mortgage, and then her and her brother split $75,000 when all was said and done. It worked out, but she involved the right people early enough in the process so that it worked. Now, if you are handling a probate estate and there is property in that estate, be sure to give us a call. Don't wait. Even more important, if that property is in foreclosure, give us a call immediately so we can bring in the appropriate parties to get things going. Because the sooner we can review things, the sooner we can come up with a solution and have more options to protect the home and the family's equity in that home. So out of this, I have 4 lessons. Lesson number 1 is just because somebody passes and you open a probate estate, it doesn't stop anything. The legal process still will occur. Even if you don't open the probate estate, the legal process will occur. somebody dying does not stop the process automatically. Steps need to be taken. So if you have a loved one that has passed and there's a mortgage on the property, you need to get things going relatively quickly. I understand there's a grieving process. It is tough to make decisions in that time, but that's where coming to a professional like myself and my firm, we can bring in all the appropriate people you need and make sure your family is protected. Number 2 is to act quickly. Kind of going back to number 1, I understand there's a grieving process. I understand that. Unfortunately, under the law, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the person died or not. And I know that sounds really insensitive, but the fact of the matter is the law gives you timetables and they don't stop unless you take some proactive action. Number 3 is if you're appointed to be the executor or the administrator, which is where somebody dies without a will, just think of it this way. If you're appointed to handle an estate, you want to do your best to protect the equity. That means you want to pay off any debts, not incur extra costs, take care of clearing everything, right? You want to get going on the process to make sure that everything is running smoothly. Number 4, and this is probably the most important, build a team, right? You need a team of people, especially when there's real estate. You need a probate attorney, right? You need a real estate attorney. You might need a foreclosure attorney. You might need a realtor, right? These are the people that are going to be there to help surround you and make sure everything's going smoothly. Now, the closing attorney and your probate attorney could be the same attorney. There's nothing wrong with that, but you want somebody there that's going to guide you and help move things along. So every day, I share real life stories from real closings so you can have a stress-free and hopefully smooth closing. And based on the other videos you've watched of ours, YouTube is recommending this video. And if you don't want to miss anything we're sharing, any of our future videos, be sure to subscribe and follow us.